Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith, and I'm doing another MTG custom Magic card review. Here we have a card by our friend Arceus8523. I'm just going to call him Arceus because I'm not going to remember that number. And this is a different set that I guess another one of his custom sets called Bafflem. Okay, I don't know anything about the set. It's the first card I've seen from the set, so we'll see if we can sort of figure out what's going on in his set. And this is my first time looking at this card, so let's see what's going on with this card. Okay, so we've got a card called Knight of Seasons. This is a 2-mana 2/2. All right, reasonable, rare. Let's see what this says here. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a season counter on Knight of Seasons. Then, if there are 4 or more season counter on Knight of Seasons, remove all season counters from Knight of Seasons. I said Knight of Seasons a lot there. As long as Knight of Seasons has exactly the indicated number of season counters on it, it has the indicated ability. Okay, okay. Indestructible, lifelink, vigilance, first strike. Okay, so there's a lot to digest here. Okay, so let's. First of all, this is interesting templating. I don't hate it. Certainly don't hate it. Okay, before we consider this card, I do want to say that you don't necessarily have to mention Knight of Seasons so many times. You can put it in cards nowadays. I believe. I think if you look at a lot of modern cards, it is a reasonable way to refer to the card, right? So if you say, beginning of your upkeep, put a season counter on Knight of Seasons, that's totally fine. And if there are 4 or more season counters on it, remove all season counters from it. I think that's perfectly reasonable wording. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then here, obviously, you want to keep the word Knight of Seasons. Okay, now let's consider the play pattern here. So you play this, it has no season counters on it, and it's indestructible. So it protects itself from removal. The next turn, it's a 2/2 lifelink, so you can attack with it and gain some life. The turn after has vigilance, so it's a little worse the turn after. And then the turn after that, it has first strike, which is also reasonable. Okay, so I like the idea of this card a lot. I think this is a really neat design. The fact that it's got these season counters, and for each season. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Do these match? Do these somehow flavor match seasons? Like, I guess lifelink would be spring. So then I don't know if that quite fits. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, keyword abilities aren't necessarily flavored after season, so it's kind of hard to get that going. But that would have been a nice little extra touch. But yeah, I think this design's really cool. Like I don't think I've ever seen this before, where there's a creature that sort of changes the way it behaves every turn. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I would say my only issue with this card is the fact that, like, the progression of the counters is a little strange. So like, okay, so this is a rare and it's a 2/2, right? So you got to think that, like, when you play this card, I like that you get the indestructible right off the bat. I like that a lot. Protects the creature, allows you to untap with it. I think that's perfect, right? Lifelink is a good ability. So the turn you attack, you gain some life. I think that's great. But then you get vigilance. So now your creature is, like, worse. Basically, like, you don't gain life if you attack. Yeah, vigilance is fine, but, like, by this turn, you're probably unable to attack with this creature any longer, right? Unless you have some ways to buff it. But and then first strike is a good ability, but again, by this turn, this card's probably too small for the first strike to really matter too much. So, excuse me, taking a drink of my tea there. So what I would really like to see on something like this is maybe like indestructible, lifelink, +1/+1, double strike. Something like that, where it sort of has this sort of like progression where it can sort of continue to attack and be relevant throughout the game. Now, granted, you know, white has ways to pump their creatures, but this is also a rare, right? So you got to sort of keep that in mind. Yeah. So, but I think other than the progression being a little awkward here, um, I do really like this card. And I don't think the strange progression is enough to give it a 3 out of 5. I think this card is just straight up a 4 out of 5. Um, another thing you could do is you could make this a 3/2, and you could change the progression to like indestructible, vigilance, lifelink, first strike, and that might actually uh, make it play a little bit better, because then it's like, again, indestructible, love it at the beginning. Vigilant is the worst of the abilities, um, but on this turn when you're attacking with it, it's definitely still getting in, right? And then the next turn, like maybe you're trading this creature off, but at least you're going to gain life now. And then if it survives again, now you have a 3/2 first strike, which is much better than a 2/2 first strike. So that even doing something like that, I think would help this card. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to give this card a 4 out of 5. I think despite the sort of awkwardness of the abilities, I really like the idea of this card. I think this is a very unique card. It's very flavorful. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it. That's a review of Night of Seasons.